Hi guys, hey Von Cruel, good to see you. Yes, it's Von Cruel showed up. Good to see you. I will try to abstain from anti-PHP diatribes. That's okay. It's fine. It's sort of yeah. PHP really isn't with the herd where a lot of these guys are. I understand their position, Van Cruel. Regarding trolls, let them troll. My level of caring is exactly 0. Okay. Hey, Allie, there's a guy. Eric, good to see you. Goldfinger, hey, haven't sound the video are good. Thanks, Allie. Hey, B Rock, good afternoon to you. Blake, Dartmouth, is that Kenneth? Is Kevin? Is that right? Dartmouth. Okay. Problem with YouTube. Oh no, let me see. Uh, s- okay, Allie, what's up? Okay. Um, Aggie fan, very sad. What happened to the Aggies? Listen, I'm a I'm a Charger and Padre fan, even though I'm on the other side of the continent. So the Chargers will somehow blow it. They always do. So I'm, what can I say? Your problem is envy. That's everybody's problem. Friend of mine and we go out to lunch, or not lunch, we go out and have coffee every Thursday. And this last Thursday, he brought his new watch, and I was immediately jealous. And the way to do it, we're both jealous of each other's collection. Works out, it evens up pretty well. Um, I was thinking about this is that, you get, people, wow, those watches are no goodness. And I'm not free of that. I mean, God knows I complain about the silicone hairspring. So, it's just one of those things, like, come on, get over it. It's one of those things. But I was thinking about it. Um, I guess I like sports cars. I don't have one. In fact, I think my dad had one once, and a friend of mine had a English sports car. Austin wasn't an Austin Martin; it was another kind. But anyway, um, I became a Morgan fan. I really like Morgans, and I had friends who like Corvettes. I have nothing against Corvettes. It's just not my thing. On the other hand, I like Morgans, and most people don't even know what they are, let alone like them or dislike them. And I think with watches, we have a similar kind of thing. We like what we like, and I've seen these what I call cheap shot artists. They're with us, and they're not just with watch collectors. They feel that they have to say something snarky about a watch. Somebody gets a new watch, says, "Oh boy, yeah, that's a nice watch," but it's that kind of thing. And so, uh, Von Cruel just could care less. I, you know, not only do I care less, I think they're missing something. I there are so many different ways that people, especially the idiosyncratic ways that people like watches, and all of them are fun to listen to. There was this one of my favorite is when I first started collecting watches, there was this guy who had all these different colored, Tag Heuers. He loved Tag Heuers. He just thought they were great, and he loved them. And listening to this guy, you could you could enjoy what he enjoyed. Now, I didn't even bother to find out what the movement was or anything else, but being Tag Heuer, it's probably not anything that's earth-shattering. But the point is that there are a lot of different ways, but some people just have to go out of their way to say something snotty. Um, it's something. So what I thought we could talk about, well, how do we handle them? I think for the most part, I ignore them. Like, you sort of like, well, you know, some snotty remark, and so you know, so what? Your opinion doesn't count. Something like that. But by and large, I don't get too much of that. Every now and then, another thing you can do if somebody is really snotty about the watches you collect, just say, "Well, tell me about the watches you collect." And whenever I do that, they shut up and I don't hear from them anymore. So that might be a thing at work because I was really interested. Oh, maybe they know something that I don't know. I don't know. So let's see what you do. Um, so far, the number one thing is to Von Krul. he just he doesn't he doesn't like him. I mean, he doesn't care what they think, which I think is one way to handle it. Ah, ooh, Goldfinger, you got a Remy Cools. Holy smoke! Remy Cools is something else. Renaud Tixier. That one I don't know, but Remy Cools I do definitely. That is a really nice thing. And see, notice Allie said something really cool, nice about it too. Way to go, Allie. Jeffrey, not sure how we got to a place of negative, degrading meanness. It's almost like it has been normalized. Jeff, that's a good point, and it shouldn't be. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, there's um it doesn't there was I think I mentioned this before. It was I have to watch my language, but there was this actor that I knew when I was in college. He and I were in college at the same time, and we hung out a little. We weren't like super close, but we hung out every now and then. Went to parties together, a few things like that. Uh, his name is now he's called Michael Douglas. He used to call him Mike Douglas back in college, and he was interviewed a few months ago. I was looking at an interview, and they were asking him about this and that, and what he did. He said, "Well, I tell you, I just ignore assholes. I just don't want to have anything to do with them. So, rather than trying to reform them or anything else." And I thought, that's probably a pretty good philosophy. I mean, if somebody acts like a jerk, just let them. you know, Hasta la vista. Hi, Mark. How you doing? I just say, well, opinions are like a-holes. Everybody's got one. Oh, Jesus. I don't even give them that courtesy. That's what Abdul just got himself a nice hand heart. He asked them to give him a red reset pusher, not normal for one. And they said yes, because they're cool. Yeah. Yeah, that is a neat story. Where is Abdul? There he is. Okay. Hi, Abdul. Abdul, what was that German? You recently bought a German watch. And I forgot the name of it. What was that? It was like an abbreviation, a three-letter abbreviation, I think. Eric, what's a 417? That's another thing I don't know about. Hey, Spectre. So, how does UBO fit into this topic? Asking for a friend. I like UBO. Um, I you know, I think I don't know why there's so many people who are negative about UBLOs because the first of all, they won a huge number. I think a lot of people be surprised. I think they won like 7 or 8 Grand Prix awards. And, there are certain models that of Hublot that I really like. But I again, you're right that they get a lot of heat, and I don't know why. Okay, the 417 ES, is that a Hanhart? Question mark. Ah, there it is. DUG. Deutsch. Oh man. Okay, DUG. Foreman. It's a spiraling effect. Oh my god. I got the Purist Type 1 watch. Also another great value for the money, Hanhart. Ah, Von Krul, that you may have something. You know, to me, any watch that is heavily discounted is the watch collector's best friend. They used to do that with H. Mosers, and that was when I got mine. They were way discounted, brand new. Same thing with Parmigiani. It's not true anymore. Now they both have waiting lists. Um, you know, and because something's heavily discounted is no reason, I don't think. A lot of people said, "Oh, well, they're popular by certain groups they didn't care for," and so that could be a lot of different groups. Hi, Tim. I don't know, Von Krul, about how out there they are. I mean, trying to think. There was one that I really liked. It wasn't the Big Bang. A Big Bang is I think they reminded me of too much of chronographs, and I'm not into chronographs, but they have some other ones. Fusion. They're pure fusion watches I really like. So, um, you have all kinds of tastes. If I took a look at all of the FP Journe watches, there are only a few of them that I really like. I mean, that I would really actually want to have. Like the Optimum, I really would like to have an Optimum. I can't afford one, but that's neither here nor there. And there's the whole idea of brand loyalty and things like that. That's okay for some, I guess. That's another thing too. I suppose of those who collect and that I refer to as the herd. I shouldn't be critical of the herd. I mean, they're happy. Let 'em, oh boy, here I am with the herd. I couldn't be happier. That's fine. I sort of like it was mentioned that being nasty and critical, okay, has sort of become a norm, and it shouldn't be. There's no reason for it. I never see any rude person in a watch community. What caused the topic today? Allie, I just you see, I tell you have to look, Allie. You have those of you who are pure of heart don't understand little sort of subtle rakes that they slip in, you know. Yeah. Oh, someone say, "Oh, what a beautiful watch." Oh, you can't get those serviced anywhere. You know, there's it's always some little crack that they have to put in, but my God. Hi, Ivan. Stay away from, forums and you'll be fine. No one cares about the watch you wear. Stay away from forums. Well, I don't know, High Horology Lounge, that's a forum, I guess, and, you know, everybody's pretty nice there or they get kicked out. Maybe that has something to do with it. Hey, Washington, how you doing? Oh, Washington, I tell you, there's so many other things going on. There's something else going on that probably I ought to be able to know very much more about early next year. And I don't think it's gonna well, in fact, I know it's not gonna be the CalCIS, but that's something, it could always be on the burner. Um, it's believe it or not, there's a lot of discussion before, Larit goes out and says, "What do you want?" I know that Abdul was asking a lot of people, "What do you think of having a jumping hour and this and that?" A whole lot of people really liked it and jumped on it. So, um, I think the CalCIS would be the same thing, but there are other things that we're looking at right now. So we'll see. Maybe that will, be one that will be more of a recent one. We're working on numbers 3 and 4 right now that are actually in production. And Lyrique 5 is, I don't know, sort of in the skunk works. And then there's number 6. Maybe that'd be number 6. I don't know. I rarely go to forums. Tend to avoid also the drama streams. Much better to avoid rather than engage. Abdul, I agree. There been some on in fact, some I was kicked out of, which is probably deservedly so. No, I think see, the thing that's really important because forums, the idea of a forum, I think a watch forum, is really have discussions. But I know the ones that it seems like the guys with the Oklahoma one, those guys are that's a nice forum. So is like I mentioned, Watch Art Side. They seem pretty nice there, and I've seen some other ones that are nice. I know of some other ones that I left or was asked to leave from that were nothing but just nasty. Spectre control. Anybody? No, I don't know an Invicta. One of the things about Invictas you'll get is they have a really interesting history. And there's some that are worth bragging about, or not bragging, but really saying, hey, this is an interesting watch. Other ones are simply very inexpensive ones. I think more and more there's the we're starting to see watches that are very respectable branding now that have sort of their semi. I don't know what you'd call them. They're semi-independents. I say semi because usually the movements are just inexpensive movements that they can pick up from Solita or even Chinese movements that hey, they're fine. They look good. They're interesting designs and so forth. It's probably wise to listen to somebody who gets excited about it for whatever reason and listen to them. Like, what are they getting excited about? That makes it much more interesting than, people who don't. I was on a cruise once, and this guy had a Big Bang. He was so proud of his Big Bang, and so I said nothing but good things about his Big Bang. It was, and so that it doesn't cost you anything. You can, even if you don't like a watch, or something about a watch, you can always find things good that you like about them. So, that's a way to, I mean, that's sort of a, yeah, the interaction is much more fun that way. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Forbin, hebdomadari. I have, it turned out that my Ovale, my Parmigiani Ovale had a that uh, hebdomadari movement in it. They're cool movements. Yeah, watch you seek. Yeah, sometimes when I'm looking for something, watch you seek will come up. Some of these they're guys with really good intentions, but they don't know what they're talking about. There were this one thing I got into. I didn't get into. I simply saw and then walked away like I should do. They were talking about Jacques Droz, and they were discussing whether or not Jacques Droz has an in-house movement. And they, I had a Jacques Droz with a Jacques 736 movement. Well, apparently they had seen one, so the guy said, "Well, yeah, this is Jacques Droz. It has Jacques Droz movement." But it wasn't a Jacques Droz movement. It was a Jacques movement from Jacques SA, which later became La Jupiere, Perret. So you have a lot of stuff like that, and then you usually have one or two people in such kinds of forums who seem to really know what they're talking about, but not always. I forums I think have they're a two-edged sword. They can be a lot of fun and useful, and they can also be food fights with very little useful information in them. The more pertinent topic is that Swiss watch prices are way out of control. That's the more pertinent one. Okay, Ivan. They've been out of control for a long time. They're just more out of control now. Okay, so that's need to really check, and maybe the Chinese are going to provide it. Now that I agree on. I think this anyone who has seen a peacock tourbillon knows that somebody's in trouble. If you can produce one of those that looks like a Grand Seiko case and the rest of it with a beautifully working tourbillon, something's got to give. Then someone's not going to be paying $50,000 just because they put a, a tourbillon into an otherwise pretty, you know, three-hander. Yeah, Abdul, on those German watches you mentioned, for so long, some of the best ones, like Sin, have been using, and several others too, Ruhe, Glashütte, and some of the other ones, they even Tutima use Swiss movements, and most of them are Salida. They used to be ETA, and the as a the 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 German movements that you have, like in Allanga, and you have in Langenheim, and you have in Moritz Grossman. Yeah, their things are talk about expensive. Uh, Ivan, sick Ivan on them. Like, you got to talk about who has suspenses. I remember when the KRX was being heavily criticized for the plastic movement components. Here, here are a few years later, and there's been no issue with it. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot. There's eventually there's not going to be a lot of issues with certain kinds of things. It's not a matter of being new. It's a matter of being something other than you signed up for. I mean, it's sort of like if you signed up for an exercise class and they said, "Well, it's really going to be a yoga class," so you're supposed to bring a yoga mat to your exercise, something like that, to the gym. Take care, Ivan. Oh yeah, they have. Abdullah, I don't think what did the Fam Hut win for Abdul? Famil Hut. Oh, Audacity Prize. Yeah, they're gonna be. I think they're gonna cause some real interesting things. I like the idea that the Chinese have some watches with some very interesting horology for an affordable price. I mean, this is why it drives me crazy when I see a really nice watch and everything about it's fine except they put a tourbillon in it and that tripled the price or something. And if somebody just wants to check off tourbillon in their collection, you're not going to have to pay $50,000 to do it. Yeah, Von Crew, I agree about hacking. Actually, the thing that really put me off about hacking is who they have hacking now is Patek Philippe, because under Stein, I think was his name, or Stern, the guy who ran Patek Philippe for years, his engineers said hacking or stop movement was bad because you had the old brake coming. Here you have the balance wheel minding its own business, and all of a sudden, kerwham, down comes a brake to stop, for the stop movement. And they said, well, that wasn't good for it. And so they didn't have them in Patek Philippe's for years. And then people started, I want hacking. I don't know. So, yeah, Glasuda Original is interesting, but now they're owned by Swatch, and Swatch has, I think, siliconized a lot of them. Not that I have anything against it, just not my piece of cake. Oh yeah, yeah, good point, Allie. What do I think of that? Here's what I think. Um, when I published my first book, okay, this was a story, and there's this moral to this story. I asked this one professor who is a famous criminologist. I said, "Well, they gave me a lot of money." I was a graduate student then, and I said, "Is that too much, or is that, you know?" And he said, "Look, you're worth what you can get. Now, as long as these young guys coming out, they're Peterman Bedat would be a good example. Those guys do great stuff. That guy and the French guy, Nadeau, Cyrus something Nadeau, his stuff is also just fantastic. You know, what is he supposed to do? Because we can't afford it, but he's got a waiting list. He's supposed to lower the price. You know, that's sort of like, hey, if the guy can get it. On the other hand, if people say, well, you know, gee, it was sort of fun having that key wound watch that looks really cool, but you know, they lose interest in that, and then suddenly the guy's got to find a level that's sustainable. I think I don't know, you know, there's the watch business is one of the toughest ones I could imagine. I've learned a lot about it from Larique, and we're sort of in it for not for profit. And believe me, we're good at not for profit. We're trying to keep up for head above water, but we do it. And so, you know, that's was our solution to the problem of we couldn't afford these watches. Ali, I agree with you on that. On that, yeah, Langenheim, Marco Lang, even higher than both of them. I don't know how long Langenheim is going to keep it. I've noticed that a lot of the watches that Marco Lang designed, they don't have anymore. They put in that Remontoy Galate into the Frederick 2. I think maybe they put it in Frederick 3 also, just to show like actually there is something new they can do, but I agree with you. Atelier Win overstepped with a recent 30K release. A lot of people lost interest then. It's offensive, an insult to the balance wheel, damn it. I agree. That's one way to put it. Hey, John. Okay, guys. I think we'll see a rise in new movement manufacture from different areas. I agree, Abdul. Okay, one last one. My time is up, and I got two last ones. One from Stan Watches. I just bought a Piaget 9P movement, 2 millimeter six. Such a simple movement. It would love to see a market for simplicity. You know, there is a market for simplicity. I think. It's it's just not a big market. But you're right. The Yeah, I agree. Simplicity really have something like Dufour's simplicity. That's straight up horology done extremely well. Okay, Damon, I knew a smoking pipe maker who always priced his nice pipes what he figured was 2 days' work for a regular worker. Oh, yeah. You know, you hear there's some guys that do that, Damon. I hear there's one guy, there's some who were going on and whining about how much time they spent on their Gilo Shay. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but they like to talk about it. Okay, guys, I gotta run. Okay, why does the four wear Rolex? Oh, because you can bang it around. Those things are good watches. I mean, you know, they're tool watches. I wouldn't if I had a DeFore Simplicity, I'd only wear it at special occasions. That makes sense to me. Okay. Anyway, guys, like I said, I gotta run. Take care, uh, and be nice. How's that one for an ending thing? Some of you I'll see tomorrow. Adios.